Before we jump into the mind of Meridian, let me just say this. Oh my god, I'm so nervous. Are they sociopaths? Is Clem a sociopath? Am I a sociopath? Hello fellow Tenno and welcome to FrameThoughts, the show that investigates deep into certain individuals, but only keeps it down to a 2-part series. I mean, I barely make a video a week, so would you really expect me to do 8 videos on one topic? That aside, if you haven't seen The Mind of Jake Paul, that 8-part documentary series by Dawson, I would kind of advise you to check it out. The videos are quite entertaining and perfect to play in the background whilst working on videos or playing games or whatever you do. Anyway, seeing these videos, I figured I would take on the role of Shane and investigate a rather prominent group myself in order to get those sweet millions of views. I mean, just for the excitement of discovering a hidden secret in the Warframe lore. Our target for today is not just one person. We're looking into Steel Meridian. As part of the 6 syndicates in Warframe, they've always been, well, rather vague. However, by starring in numerous events, hosting Clem and now rebuilding the relays on both the PC and the consoles, we've come to know them more and more. But can we really trust them? The Syndicate of Steel Meridian is made up from Grineer defectors that, according to the in-game description, fight to protect the colonies from the Grineer Empire. In the past, we've seen them ask us for help in retrieving defectors with Operation Reform and the Pacifism Defect. Overall, they seem to be pretty reliable, just some battle-hardened Grineer that couldn't stand the tyrannical force of the Empire and decided to quit. However, you know as well as I do that whenever I say something like that on an episode like this, there must be a catch. And oh my, what a catch this is. Did you ever stop and wonder about how these poor deserters got their hands on weapons like the Hack, the Merlock, and the Sidon? Weapons, mind you, that are used by 2 members of the G3 and elite troops such as Executioners and Kuva Guards. Well, today that's going to make a lot more sense as we discover who these Grineer really are. To begin our investigation, we must note that there's very little that we can prove on the basis of their dialogue or descriptions about Steel Meridian. As I said before, the syndicates have never been fully fleshed out, so we have no way to fact check whether whatever they say is really true. Also, things like their possession of elite Grineer weapons or their leader sharing the same name as a G3 member definitely make them suspicious. However, that all remains to be circumstantial evidence. So in order to get to the truth, we must look into the Grineer Empire and use psychology to get behind the true identity of its defectors. The Grineer Empire is one of the most influential factions in the solar system. Relying on large-scale industrial production and genetic cloning, they are a formidable force to be reckoned with. As far as we've seen, the Grineer Empire is an authoritarian system ruled by the Grineer Queens, or rather Queen, with various commanders in charge of ruling over the ground troops. Even though we never go in depth into their political system, given that they execute Grineer like Clem that don't conform to authority, it's safe to say that it's a pretty strict society. But what does that say about the defectors? Well, the Grineer that we fight in-game are actually clones made with Orkin technology. Though they have become deformed over generations, Grineer are at their core human. Which isn't only an interesting fact for the next time you kill hundreds of them, but more importantly, allows us to use human psychology to analyze them. Allow me to introduce to you pathogens and politics, further evidence that parasite prevalence predicts authoritarianism, or the parasite stress hypothesis for short. This is pretty groundbreaking when it comes to understanding authoritarian systems like the Grineer Empire. It starts out with super sexy sentences like, according to a parasite stress hypothesis, authoritarian governments are more likely to emerge in regions characterized by high prevalence of disease-causing pathogens. I mean, oh my, don't even mind this video here. This is the only pickup line you'll ever need. Anyway, the study looks at the relationship between the presence of disease within a country and the effect that it has in becoming more authoritarian. As weird as a correlation as this may sound, the results are stunning, as high levels of disease within a country make it far more likely to become authoritarian. But then, how does this work? Well, disease is something that can easily spread, as you might see once or twice a year when everyone gets a cold. In the case of the cold, it's not so bad, but when a disease might kill you, you want to make sure that there's no way that you can catch it. The best way to stop it from spreading is by doing things like washing your hands or eating healthy, bringing order into your life. Aside from introducing order, you also want to stay away from public places and, more importantly, unknown people, as they might be infected and then get you sick. These desires for order and keeping a close circle are distinct authoritarian personalities, and when they become more and more common amongst more people within a society, it can lead to an authoritarian government. Going back to the Grineer Empire, we can see this is happening, as it is suffering heavily from disease. Not only are the Grineer deformed and live short lives, according to this codex entry, they're also very susceptible to skin diseases. And the ones that are most affected by this are the ground troops. Where high-ranking commanders like Thor can get their body parts augmented, a regular Grineer Lancer isn't very likely to enjoy such luxury. As the study showed, this means they are generally more supportive of the authoritarian empire. So then, who are the Grineer that form Steel Meridian? They need to be Grineer that aren't prone to disease, but might become so due to the policies of the empire. Grineer that aren't on the front lines, but are also not in commanding positions. The only possibility is that the defectors from Steel Meridian come from the Grineer upper class. Oh yeah, that's right. If you ever thought that this syndicate consisted of poor troops wishing for a better life, oh my, you're wrong. These are the wealthy Grineer. The Grineer that weren't suffering, but could see the Empire seize their possession and send them onto the battlefield, and thus decided to leave, forming Steel Meridian. Not only does this explain their disregard for the Empire, but it also explains why they have access to elite Grineer weapons, and why their leader might be related to the G3. Proving that they haven't been entirely honest with us, and that rebuilding the relays might not just solely be an act of kindness. But all of that is for part 2 of this video, which is coming out next week. So make sure you hit that subscribe button if you haven't done so already, and you know what? For this week, I'm just gonna give you 5 seconds to press that, so better be fast.